I don't want to offend any of the senior people with this message, because it talks about younger people too. But the title's Help by Falling and Can't Get Up. And you remember that TV commercial where the lady's laying on the floor and she pushes the little button and says, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." Well, I guess it's still playing. We don't have television at home now, so. But anyway, everybody's going to reach a point in their life, whether you're young or whether you're senior citizens, that you're going to fall. And the fall doesn't necessarily mean like the little lady fell on the floor. It's like a fall from the grace of God. And it's easy to fall from the grace of God, because sin's like quicksand. The more you play and struggle with it, the deeper you get in it. So it's not hard to follow. We all got alert buttons. But some of us choose to wait till we have to push the panic button. Last resort, we call on God. And even experienced people run into trouble that they need a little help. How about, let's look at Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. And it talks about some experienced people that need a little help to get back up. It says, that day when evening came, he said to the disciples, "Let's go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There was also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, that's the back part of the boat, and he was sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up and rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Now these guys, remember, a lot of them were fishermen. They were used to being on the water. Now, this lake that they were going across, it was the Sea of Galilee. Some places you'll see it referred to as Lake Capernaum. And it's realistically more like a lake than a sea. It's surrounded by hills. And the one unique part about the Sea of Galilee is 680 feet below sea level. I'm not talking about the bottom, but the surface of the lake. The lake is 12 miles long. Anybody been to Lake Lemon? Lake Lemon is 12 miles long. It's not 7 miles wide, but lake, or the Sea of Galilee, is 7 miles wide, 12 miles long. So if you've been to Lake Lemon, you know just about how big the lake was. Only had a depth of 150 feet. Still called it a sea. But here's what made the Sea of Galilee so unique. Is the winds, as they rush across land, they get near to the water, they pick up speed. And because the Sea of Galilee is so low, hills all the way around it, the wind picks up speed coming off the slopes. And out of the clear blue Nova, a storm can raise up. And there have been known to have waves of up to 20 feet. And when we think of 20 feet waves, we think of a hurricane on the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere that had time to build up. But on a 7-mile wide lake, they've built up waves 20 feet tall. And these waves were crashing over the boat. And here's these seasoned fishermen who were getting plain scared. They had no clue what to do. The boat was filling up with water. And here's Jesus, laying back there on the stern, sound asleep. The disciples had gotten down, and they couldn't get up. They pressed the panic button and go screaming to Jesus, "We're all going to drown, wake up, don't you care?" I kind of see Jesus, he just rolls over. Okay. Wind, y'all settle down. Flat waves, stop. Now. I said now. Now in cowboy talk, we look at it more like a Jesus awakening as a parent. Child wakes you up in the middle of the night. Y'all are, shut up, go back to bed. I could just see Jesus, and that's just about it. Said he rebuked. So he told the wind to shut up and the waves to settle down, go back to bed. And they did. Now the disciples are really scared because they didn't understand Jesus to start with. And now that they're with a man that's so powerful that he can tell the wind and the waves what to do, they're really confused. They're really nervous. Now we have problems that, like this particular case was talking about storms. And we have storms that affect every part of our life. And there's no denying that we all have storms that cause us to want to push the panic button. But Jesus asked his disciples, why are you afraid? Do you not have faith? The faith there, button that we can push the alert. Said, Jesus, I'm getting in trouble, need some help. That's our faith. Because we know to go to Jesus for the help that we need. We just, most of the time, fail to recognize that Jesus can calm the storm that's brewing inside of us. We let it build, and like a hurricane, starts out as a tropical depression. Then it's a tropical storm. Then it's a category 1, and then a category 2. And as the storm inside of us builds, the first thing we've got is an out-of-control situation. And we come undone. We hit a panic button. Look at Mark, chapter 5, verses 25 to 34. It said that a large crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all that she had. Yet instead of getting better, she'd gotten worse. And when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak because she thought, if I can just touch his clothes, I'll be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt her body was freed from her suffering. At once Jesus realized that the power had gone out from him. He turned around the crowd and asked, who touched my clothes? You see the people crowding against you, his disciples answered, and yet you ask, who touched you? But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came, fell at his feet amid trembling with fear, and told him the whole truth. He said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be free from your suffering. This is another case of help. I've fallen and can't get up. The disciples hit the panic button when the boat was being swamped. This lady hit the alert button and she went straight to Jesus with faith. She knew that all she had to do, or felt that all she had to do, was just touch his clothes. That's how much faith that she had. If I can just touch his clothes, that's all I need to do. The doctors had already, she'd been to the doctors. We had prayer requests a while ago and talked about what God had answered, the prayers that he'd answered. Yet this woman had been to so many doctors that she had spent every penny that she had. And what did they get out of her? What answer did they give her? Sorry. We've done all we can do. We talked about Rose. Found out she had cancer and they told her, sorry. That's all we can do. And then God jumped in on her. Now she's cancer free. This woman was healed. Sometimes we just have to get her attention. Sometimes we have to silence. Kristen was out there one day, and the dogs were all barking. I mean, it was a wrap. She stuck her head out the door and hollered, quiet. Well, it just happened that the neighbors were in the field across from us working cattle. I think that's what had the dogs spare. And she screamed at the door, quiet! There wasn't a cow in the field that made noise after that. The dogs quit barking, and the two farmers said, we were scared to even talk to each other. That kind of vision, that's the way God honors us sometimes. To get us just to listen, to have the faith to call on, not to do it ourselves in our way. Here this woman, she'd fallen, she couldn't get up on her own. But you know what? We find that today that people are so vaguely familiar. Well, yeah, I've heard about Jesus. Yeah, I know about Jesus. But do you know Jesus enough to know that you can just touch his garment? I mean, faith is something that makes everything possible. It doesn't say it's going to make it easy. The woman still had a crowd to press through. There was so much crowd. Jesus knew that somebody had touched him. He felt the healing leave his body. But yet the crowd was so big, when he turned, he couldn't spot who did it. Yet the woman had faith enough to push through the crowd to get to Jesus. We've just gotten this attitude that if there's any work involved, we'll wait till another day. Well, maybe I'll get somebody to pray for me so I can get better, but they come to the altar and there's already 2 people there, so I'll wait till there's not that many people there. I'll get more prayer. We want to wait till we can get that panic button. Why not while it's easy? Why not go to Jesus when the faith is all we need to get? When it's the faith that's all we need to get up. And when we talk about the woman that got healed, we talk about the boat that was sinking, that was filling up with water. How about the times that we just have things within our life that we fall? We get something that just seems like it's more than we can deal with. Well, I fixed my hair. I put it up in curlers. I did all the stuff I was supposed to. I unrolled it. It's a mess. And all day long, it gnaws at me. It's just a bad hair day. We get days that no matter what we do, it's not going to happen right. We've put the tire on the car 14 times, and it still won't go on tight. Some days we just get so frustrated. We fall, and we don't have the faith to ask Jesus, Jesus, what am I doing wrong? Jesus, help me get over this. I'll fix my hair tomorrow, and it'll be all right. But we want to hit the panic button. We can't get up because we don't ask. We'd rather lay, feel bad about it,